Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Thank you for taking the time to meet here today with members of the press and content creators from around the continent. My name is Samantha Teta. I will be moderating this discussion. With your permission, Your Excellency, may we proceed directly to the questions?
Thank you, sir. I would like to remind members of the press, will you please introduce yourselves and your media house, and then please limit yourself to one question so everyone can get a turn. You have a question, please?
Maybe let me say
yes, sir.
A word or two before we get started. Always aware, like you are, where we are in a number of things. I think we can talk about the economy, the country, and how it is operating under all kinds of constraints, as we know them, internal, external factors leading to that. We may talk about regional integration, which has been on the agenda for every country that is part of this Eastern African region. We may talk about conflicts, mainly the one in our immediate region and the neighborhood. We may talk about global issues, the geopolitics and all kinds of stuff. But I can't forget to thank Rwandans who stay the course and contribute to the stability of the country and contribute to other situations far away from here under different circumstances. I think some of the achievements or the progress thereof made in the country, it's largely because of our population, our people who, even when there are serious problems, they still stand tall and work together and confront the challenges without too much complaining, because that doesn't necessarily solve the problems. So that's a bit of where we are, and you're welcome with the questions. Any question?
Thank you, sir.
Even if it doesn't fall within those things I have mentioned.
Yes, Mary?
Good evening. My name is Mary Wangare from the East Africa, Nairobi. My question is in regards to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Would you have any concerns about this ambitious agreement that was launched during your tenure as the chairperson of the AU reforms? Because the trading is not happening. It seems not to be happening as it was intended to. Basically because of the non-tariff barriers and among other issues regarding the free trade agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
I take one by one, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Easier to answer directly to the question. Well, first of all, for one, I'm happy that that step was made for Africa to come together and not only think about, but put a framework in which we are going to realize broader trade within the continent and trading with each other through and guided by AFCFTA. And so that is a good step to begin with. But that's not an end in itself. We all should have been bearing in mind that that is a good beginning of a very hard task that we had to carry out as well. And doing it brings more benefits than just creating a concept around and framing things around trade and trading with each other. Doing it is the most important thing. And that's where we have fallen short as a continent. We are falling short. We falter on the way to doing what we have to do. So that takes discussions. We keep nudging each other and trying to find the excuses some people have or reasons for not contributing to it fully as we should. So that's a work in progress. But I agree with you. It can cause frustration, and for good reasons. I think the Africans must be frustrated. And maybe those who really put a lot of weight to all this must be feeling the frustration. But we can't just keep complaining. We have to find a way of getting together and doing what we have to do. Again, it's not as easy as that, as just saying it. So I'm concerned, but I'm also happy that this effort was ever put in place. So the frustration is just about how fast and how well can move forward. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question from Dive, RBA.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwayo Dive nkorera RBA. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, leta imaze iminsi ifata ingamba zikomeye ku binyobwa bisembuye n'inzoga zitujuje ubuziranenge. Zimwe mu nganda zarafunzwe, ibicuruzwa bimwe biramenwa, ndetse ba nyiri inganda abazikoreraga n'abakozi ba leta bakurikiranyweho kugira uruhare muri iki kibazo. Hari abavuga ku buzima bw'abaturage ko bwari mu kaga kubera izi nzoga, ariko nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, hari n'abandi bavuga ku gihombo cy'abashoramari n'abacuruzi. Kuri mwe iki kibazo murakivugaho iki? Gikwiriye gusiga irihe somo yaba ku bacuruzi ndetse no ku nzego za leta zishinzwe ubuziranenge n'ubutumwa muha abaturage bijyanye n'iki kibazo? Murakoze.
Kuri icyo kibazo tureke kwibaza gusa ibivugwa. Kwibaza ibivugwa, abantu bavuga ibintu bashatse ibyo ari byo byose bitewe n'imitekerereze yabo cyangwa uko bifuza. Ariko kubivugwa twongereho n'ibigaragara n'ibyo tubona noneho biba. Hari ibyo binyobwa bidafite ubuziranenge na gake ndetse bihita n'abantu, twahera aho ngaho twakwibaza. Ariko ibi nibyo byica abantu, byisha abantu, tugaheraho honyine. igisubizo ugishaka wese aragifite. Byica abantu, byisha abantu, ndetse batagira umubare. Mukurikira rero nyine amakuru nk'uko bamwe muri mwe mugomba kuba mukurikira. Ntabwo ari ukuvuga ngo hapfuye abantu babiri gusa uyu munsi, ngo ejo hapfuye undi umwe. Barapfa ari 20, 30, 50. Hari ubwo hapfuye abagera ari hafi kugera mu 100. Ndavuga ku munsi umwe. Ugiye gushyira hamwe abamaze gupfa mu mwaka, urabyumva uko abantu bangana. Mbere yuko ngera kuri ibyo bindi by'inganda by'abakozi, tubanze dusubize ikibazo cy'ubuzima cy'aba bantu. Ese turashaka inganda n'abakozi bazikoramo bari buhitanwe n'ibikorerwa muri izo nganda, cyangwa turashaka ibihitana abantu batwaye mu nganda kugurisha ibikenewe n'izo nganda, ukajya muri izo nganda ugatwarayo ibyo inganda zikoresha, warangiza wataha wakwifuza gufata ku byavuye mu byo watwaye mu nganda ukahagwa. Ibyo ni ubuzima abantu bakwiriye kuba bemera bakurikira. Ariko noneho wenda turavuga ibya hano gusa, nabyo kandi bifite agaciro, ari nabyo duhereyeho. Ibyo binyobwa byica abantu nta nubwo ari ibikorerwa hano cyangwa ibituruka hano gusa, hari n'ibituruka hanze. Ibituruka hanze bizanwa bituje ubuziranenge bikica abantu. Maze mu kwica hari uburyo butandukanye. Hari ibibica uwo munsi, icyo cyumweru. Hari nabo bizica nyuma y'umwaka. Kwica buhoro ukagenda uko binywa bikagenda bikwica kugeza igihe umuntu anogoka nyuma y'umwaka. Ibyo rero ntabwo ndumva neza igihe umuntu waba bishyigikiye ngo atekereze inganda, atekereze abantu bakora muri izo nganda, ukuyemo abo byica umunsi ku wundi nk'uko bizwi, nk'uko mubibona. Abo rero reba nk'uruganda cyangwa uburyo abantu bateguye ibyo binyobwa, byaba ari mu ruganda, byaba ari mu rugo, byaba ari hehe, byisha abantu uyu munsi. Birongeye wowe ibyo ukora, ndavuga ahantu hamwe, birongeye byisha abandi uwundi munsi, ikindi gihe. Birongeye byisha abandi, I'm talking about the same place, ndavuga ahantu hamwe. Birongeye byisha abandi ahandi ikindi gihe. Ubu ukavuga ngo urakora ikizi. Ariko noneho usibye wowe ubikora bikica abantu, iki gihugu kiyoborwa gite? Igihugu cyareka abantu bagapfa gusa kikarebera cyo kiba ari igihugu cye? Ni igihugu gifite kureba ngo ibikorwa ibyo ari byo byose ntabwo byica abantu, ahubwo ni ibifasha ubuzima bw'abantu gutera imbere. Bamwe muri aba rero ndibwira ko babifitemo uruhare, ndetse bashobora kuba bafite n'uruhare muri izo nganda, cyangwa se abafite izo nganda babahuma amaso bakareka ibintu byabo bigahita bikajya kwica abantu. Ibyo niko ntekereza, ariko noneho bazabyisubiririza igihe bakurikiranweho ibyo ngibyo, nibo bazabisubiza, nta wundi wabibasubiriza. Si ibyo gusa, n'ibindi tumaze iminsi tuvuga, niba mubikurikira, ibi biyobyabwenge abantu hari ibyo binyobwa, hari ibindi by'ibiyobyabwenge abantu bahinduye, mwaragiye murabiririmba mubyita amazina y'igitangaza, mugira mute, birica abantu, birica abana, birica abantu batoya. Iki gihugu n'abakuru hari ababirimo, ndetse birica abantu. Igihugu cyaberaho kugira ngo kirebere abantu bapfa, abantu bacyo bapfa. Ntuvuga ngo hatazagira ubaza bakwiriye kubaza impamvu abantu bapfa, ntabwo ari ukubaza impamvu ibyica abantu bicibwa. Kuri iyo ntambara rero, abanyumva cyangwa n'ababirimo bo babyiteguye, ntabwo abo turaza guhangana nabo nyine. Ibintu baraza kujya ku murongo uko bikwiye, abantu bazi icyo bisaba, baragishoboye, ariko ibyo kujya kuzana imico n'imikorere yica abantu aho bayivana birabareba aho ngaho handi, niba barabyemeye. Ibyo ntabwo bindeba, ntabwo aho handi handeba. Jye n'umuyobozi w'iki gihugu ndareba iby'iki gihugu n'abanyarwanda, no gukorana nabo kugira ngo bashobore kumenya ibibafitiye inyungu n'ibitabafitiye inyungu. Ushaka rero kurenga amategeko cyangwa gukora we kubera ko agomba gukora uko yifuza, ibyo ari byo byose aba ari byo bishyirwa imbere, abo ngabo bazahangana n'ababishinzwe kubishyira mu buryo. Hari ikintu nabonye mu byo nsoma n'iki kugira ngo bijyanye n'ibyo abantu bibaza, ariko se uko bikorwa, kunenga uko bikorwa, uko bishyirwa, ndavuga uko bikurikiranwa, uko abantu bafatwa, uko bagira bate, uko bagenzwa, bishobora kuba birimo ikibazo uko abantu bavuga. Ibyo mbona, ibyo niba ari ikibazo, ni ikibazo gitoya ugereranije n'ikibazo kiriho gishaka gukemurwa, ariko nacyo ni ikibazo gishobora gukemuka. Inzego zibishinzwe baba bakora ibintu bitari byo, bakwiye kubihindura, ariko ntabwo byavana abantu ku ntego yo guhangana n'icyo kibi abantu bagomba guhangana nacyo. Ibyo kujya abifuza ko abantu babirwanya, ariko babivuga neza, bogeza babirimo, icyo ni ikindi kibazo cyoroshye gukemura.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the next question from Kenzie.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I am Kakoza Nkuriza Charles, known as KNC, from TV1. Your Excellency, it's over a year since Washington Peace Agreement. But till now, FDLR, it is a threat to Rwandan security. Of recent, we heard of new cantonment and surrendering deal for FDLR and DRC Congo. And the Congo is putting it out as a commitment to the Washington Peace Agreement. Your Excellency, does Rwanda see it as the neutralization process that was put into that agreement, or it is a political trick? Thank you, Excellency.
Yeah, this problem of FDLR and other associated problems we have in the region, we have in Eastern Congo. First of all, it's not complicated. It's not difficult to understand what really is at issue. And this is a problem that has been there for 3 decades now. The whole world has got involved over time, and whether it is the UN, whether it is United States or Europe or Asia or name it. Africa, of course, where it is happening. For those who follow and want to really understand, minus the usual biases or complications people create for no good reason. The facts are there, they are clear. The origin of the problem is known. The handling and the mishandling of this problem over many years is known. The actors are known. So there have been, you are talking about the Washington Accords. These are just recent efforts. Before that, over many years past, the efforts and the discussions and the noises about how to deal with the problem have run into their hundreds. But you still remain with the problem. Some would even want to simplify it and they say it is Rwanda the problem. Meaning if we didn't have Rwanda, or if there was a way of carrying this country somewhere and turn it into an island in the Pacific or Indian Ocean or wherever, remove it from here. That may be a solution. That's what they imply here. That maybe a solution would be found. But ask yourself whether that really is true. There are many parties to this program. One is Congo, the other is the international community that has really messed up this whole thing from the beginning, as we know it. There is Rwanda. There are other countries of our region. All these have a way they have contributed to the problem and a way they can contribute to a solution. But the way it is handled seems not to put that into account. And that's why the problem goes on forever. Nobody addresses the root cause of this problem. I haven't heard of any effort so far that focuses and tries to address the root cause. It's always something superficial. So one day, FDLR, yes, they are there. Then the next day, no, they are not there. Actually, they were finished. Then another day, who are the FDLR after all? I think Rwanda is just creating this thing as an excuse to go and steal minerals in Congo. And this kind of, I don't know what to call it, the kind of argument that goes on, even with the people you thought they were really serious. I think sometimes we overrate the capacity of leaders and countries and so. When you listen to some of these arguments and the people they come from, you really wonder what you have to deal with. So no root cause addressed. Then immediately there are sanctions. sanctions. I've never understood, sanctions, yes, they really create problems. They do. But that is all. There are problems added to the problems that were originally there. That's all. It's not anything to do with trying to address the problem. And especially if you look at the manner in which they are applied. Instead of sanctioning FDLR or those who work with them or support them, they sanction those who fight them. I mean, I don't understand the logic. Then instead of saying, in Eastern Congo, there is a problem of Congolese who are involved in this conflict for their own rights, the AFC, M23, and many other groups that have been fighting there. So, what is the origin of this problem? Is it really Rwanda's case to answer? Are we the ones denying these Congolese their rights in the Congo? Are we even the ones who actually made them fight to restore their rights in the Congo? I will always come back to inform you as whether you want to keep it in mind or what. Even the origin of this conflict, as we know it, which started in, is it 2022 or what? We are now running into, is it 22? October 21, running into 22. How did it start? Actually, this conflict was started by Congo itself, working with people to have this invasion into Congo start, and the plan was always to put it on the shoulders of Rwanda. Try, without mentioning names, without anything, you people try to, as you live here, find out where did these people who are fighting originate from. Where did they come from? Did they come from Rwanda? If you find they came from Rwanda, maybe there is a reason to say, yeah, but there is something Rwanda is not saying in full. They are giving us a piece of story. find out. So the start of this conflict is not by Rwanda. And then Rwanda comes to own the problem, the origin of the problem. It is made to own the origin of the problem. Our Rwanda's problem has always been FDLR in Congo. I can repeat it 100 times. And if this problem of FDLR is not resolved, of course, Rwanda will always remain involved as part of this problem. I mean, there are no two ways about it. And this is something we have said for the last 30 years. So if you don't want Rwanda, if anybody keeps saying Rwanda, 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 and doesn't want Rwanda to have anything to say in this, why don't you remove this problem and see whether Rwanda was using it as an excuse? But there is even open information. By the way, people in Kinshasa, the government and officials, they say it publicly, openly. They've said it many times over a long time. They tell you, yeah, they want to bring change in Rwanda. The people that are saying this, FDLR, yeah, we see, okay, we are going to deal with them, we are going, like you said, they are the ones saying it. They are saying they have done something about FDLR, it is because they are there. If they were not there, they wouldn't be doing anything with or against FDLR. But what we know on a regular basis, they arm them, they integrate them in their own forces, and we have evidence because we have people here, former FDLR combatants who have been part of all those efforts. And either some of them came back home on their own or were captured in Congo, and they are telling the same story. You people, if you know a place called Mutobo, there is a place called Mutobo where we take people and for the effort of reintegrating them in society. These people are there, they give you space to interview directly these people who will tell you these stories. The same people of the UN, the same people in anything and everything they wanted to know about FDLR and how it is well embedded and supported by and in Congo. So these questions that keep coming, you know, I mean, we live in a world that is like this. We have to deal with it the way it is. So for us, I mean, we have calmed ourselves down and are having to deal with the world that we have. We cannot create our own world. That's too much for us. So we deal with it as the way it is. We carry the blame that is not ours. We've been insulted, abused, belittled, and to a point that sometimes people are made to feel like you really don't matter in this world. What they tell us, what they keep saying, it's like they're giving us a message, you don't matter. So sanctioning is just to punish you, drive the screw hard into your back. And at that expense, they promote whoever they want to promote for whatever reasons that are not my business. But the question remains, how do we behave ourselves? One, we behave in a manner that protects us at any cost. We will do anything that contributes to that protection, day or night. There are no two ways about it. That one we will, no question. We will also try to do what is right. If we are a country that can't afford to mess up. If you give the so many enemies we have an excuse, a chance to bring it to us, I think it will be largely our mistake. So we try to avoid that. We do what is right to protect ourselves, and we will do it without fear or favor, day or night, anytime. We are happy to do that. Actually, it's a pleasure to do the hardest task to protect ourselves. That's what it is. And the rest, what we try to do is actually, we've been trying to team up with other countries in bringing peace in different parts of our continent. And that simply underlines how much we want peace. Rwanda, we want peace. To the point that we are ready to fight for it. And that's our main thing. We want peace, and we want to work with others to have peace. So with all that I have given you, figure out what answers your question. But that's what it is.
Thank you, Excellency. We'll take the next question. We'll take one from James Munyaneza, TNT.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is James Munyaneza. I'm from the New Times. And I want also to go back to the issue of the region. Of course, we have Burundi to the south. And the president of Burundi recently said that there were conversations with Rwanda, and Rwanda made the commitments that he claims Rwanda did not honor. If you could shed some light around that, and this relates to the suspects linked to 2015.
Around something that didn't happen.
Okay, I think that's very important to understand, because he made these claims.
Well, let's be clear. That where did that happen and when?
So from what you were saying, it sounded like there had been conversations between the two countries, bilateral engagements.
When? What time? Because the time matters.
I think that was not clear from what he said.
So everything is not clear.
Okay.
I don't know how you can answer that.
Yeah,
because there is no commitment we ever made that we will not fulfill.
Okay.
Not with the president of Burundi, not with anybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Unless really something comes up specifically, then I will answer it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's now clear enough.
But maybe you might find one night he dreamt and thought it had happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I remember when we talked, and actually he's the one who did not do what he, and I think I have ever said this, at the beginning, when the Burundi forces went to the north of Kivu North in Goma and other things. When we learned it, we learned about it through intelligence. I called, I'm the one who called the president of Burundi that time and asked him, I asked him that I have heard there are forces of Burundi going to our north Kivu. I said, why would you be, and I told him, I said, there have also been these accusations that Burundi, in a way, has been associated with this FDLR. Much earlier, before there had been some, we remember in the Nyungwe area when there was, there were reports and there were incursions from Burundi, some group called this, they have some name.
FLN?
FLN. They were coming from there. So I said, but I have heard, on top of that, association of Burundi with FDLR. Now I'm hearing that you are sending forces to North Kivu. I said, President, is this true? The man said, no. It was like, who told you? There is nothing like that. In fact, he insisted, he told me I should check, I should cross-check my information. That those people who just want to cause problems, must be people who told me lies, and so on and so forth. I said, President, I will take your word, much as I think the reports I received were credible. But I will take your word for it. I mean, a couple of weeks after, they were captured in the North Kivu. Yes, I had discussed it with him. So I don't tell lies like he did to me. I don't. So on that one, I don't know which meeting or commitment or whatever he's referring to.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, on that. Finally, if you may allow, recently there has been reports about a planned oil refinery by R. Dangote in the East African region, in Kenya specifically. And then reports also, were saying Kenya is, that he had offered a stake, 30% stake. And then they mentioned Kenya, Rwanda, Ethiopia, and other interested countries. Has there been such a conversation on Rwanda potentially acquiring a stake in that project, that oil refinery? Just in case. Thank you.
In a way, there has been. But it is too early to talk about the details, because I think it is work in progress. Things are still being thought out. But what I can say is that Rwanda would be very happy to be part of that kind of investment.
Thank you, Excellency. I'll take another question. Yes, Miriam? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mariam, and I'm a content creator from Morocco. I have been cycling around the continent for the last 3 years, crossing 34 African countries. And while traveling, I saw how...
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And while cycling, I saw how much it was challenging and expensive to cross borders. And
Especially Rwanda's.
Rwanda was visa-free, so I was glad this
Oh, I
is my-
thought it was challenging in terms of mountains and...
No, the physical challenge was easier than the borders crossing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so while crossing, I saw how this limits African connection with each others.
Yeah.
But we saw how Rwanda was example of African interaction and making it easier, like for African to cross the country or visit the country.
Mm-hmm.
And my question for Your Excellency, what's the example of the the mindsets you can give, like, to African leaders to make it easier for Africans to connect and build opportunities together? Thank you.
Right. Well, to begin with, I don't want even remotely to be perceived like I'm thinking for other people. I think for myself, and together with Rwandans, we think for ourselves. We can think together with others if they want so, if they invite us, if they think it is helpful. But we always want to do our best at home here. But in the meetings we have had, and there have been several at different government official levels of different countries on our continent, to talk about this visa-free or making really ease of crossing borders and so on and so forth. We give our opinion, not only our opinion, but example of what we are doing for ourselves, so that other people either may, because what we are telling them, first we demonstrate that we have not encountered any serious problems by making it easy for people to cross our border, in or out. We just demonstrated that. We haven't found any problems. What we have discovered are only benefits. And that's what we share with the people. We tell them, for us, in our experience, we have discovered the benefits. And we tell our brothers and sisters, why wouldn't you want these benefits yourselves? But that's where we stop, because we can't do anything for anybody else. So, yeah, we keep doing what we think is best for us, or even for the continent, that is within our means, and keep sharing it, and keep looking forward to working together with others on the continent to do really what is expected. That's the only thing we can do. Yeah. So otherwise, I mean, one of the benefits is that you can be there and tell the story. You didn't lose anything, we didn't lose anything. I think we gained that you were able to come to our country and do whatever you want to do, and you will leave when you want to leave, and maybe come back sooner rather than later. And that's, so imagine if it was multiplied thousands or millions of times, the benefits the Africans would have in that.
Thank you, Excellency. Shall we take a question from Iramide, the front? The front.
Good day, Mr. President. My name is Iramide Ajayi. I'm an actor, digital creator from Nigeria. It's my first time in Rwanda, and I must say it's beautiful. Thank you for having myself and the other creators. I'll be speaking from the perspective of a creative, essentially, and tying it to the ASG theme for this year. If Meta-Africanism is pretty much about moving from simply recognizing our shared identities as Africans to more or less building together at this time and building meaningful connections, what does that exactly mean for the African creative industries? Essentially, if you have to put in place some policies or whatever changes as the president to further help African creators, African creatives in general, build sustainable careers, collaborate together, and essentially tell our stories ourselves on a global scale, what would that policy be? And I think because you just said something almost similar to my question in response to Miriam's own, because you don't want to think for the rest of Africans, I think you should just tell us from the perspective of your position as the president of Rwanda, what exactly would Rwanda do to help build a better ecosystem for African creatives? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. First, the African creatives exist, and that's why you are there and doing whatever you're doing. So you already have pretty much in ideas of what could be done. In fact, I would even flip the question and ask you, since you started the journey yourself, and it's a good thing that you really happen to be, and with all the work you've done or what you've gone through, what are the hindrances you've encountered on the way that you thought and said, no, but if this thing was not like this, maybe I would do better, I would be better in service of the creative industry. So bear that in mind as well, because that helps me to say, oh, so meaning the task is for both of us. You tell me from your experience, and I will respond to that with my responsibility at the policy level to make sure that the obstacles you meet maybe shouldn't be there, and therefore they should be removed. You see what I mean? Yes. This conversation is already useful. You are there, and like others who raise it, whether it is the AFCFTA or the lady from Morocco who was riding through this country, and the creative, and so you're all having a journey in your minds and in your experiences and whatever professions. And in trying to go a step further every day, there might be challenges that raise in you some questions you should put to us and say, but how? How come that the proud African continent that wants to achieve this and that, at least we make all this understood in the way of statements. How can you be the ones at the same time who create these obstacles? Really, this should be a very serious conversation, and you should not hesitate to raise it, rather than for me to say, you know, as the president, I will try and do this and do that. Maybe some of the things I even have in mind to do are not answering your questions. Yes, I want, give us what you think, and then let's talk about it. Let's find a way to, right? You want to give him a microphone, he wants to say something. Please, whoever has a microphone, where are you? No.
Thank you, sir. I think you have rightfully made a fantastic point. It's clear that it takes two to tango in this situation. Now, from my POV as a growing filmmaker, I work in one of the biggest film industries out of Africa, and that's Nollywood. I hope for a time when the talent that we have in Nollywood can transcend into more African countries. And I'm not even saying outside of Africa, the continent right now, because I think that we don't have a talent problem here in Africa. It's more of a connection issue. Now, what Rwanda is doing is beautiful, bringing creators from across the continent to connect, and I think we've collaborated more because we're now in the same space, and you're doing something as beautiful as the ASG initiative. If there's a request that I would make to make this easier, as regards connection from one African country to another, which helps creators better, would be that, I know that you've tried it before, because you said that you've tried advising people about the benefits of, hey, make the borders a little bit more easier for people to come in. And, you know, of course, you can't think for them. You've shown them the benefits, it's up to them to decide. We would just make a little bit more request that, please, for our sake, just maybe from initiatives like this, and of course the stories that we will tell as creators out there for people to see, just help us find a better way to
nudge them.
Yes, like, guys, I want you guys to see it. So well, maybe our presidents and policymakers would do better.
Yes,
thank you so much.
I'll try that and anything that can be. You know, one time I had an opportunity. I also had recently, there were some leaders from Nigeria. One time I met governors, came here. They came here, I think they had been organized by UNDP or something. They are the ones who asked. From Nigeria, they came all the way here. There were about 16 of them, if I remember well. And they had the governors, and not their representatives, they themselves came here. And they came here because I think through the interaction with the UNDP and others, they had learned of a number of things that maybe that could be useful to them in the governance area if they tried it. So I had a very long chat with them. I varied my time. What I did was to take them through where we have been and how we have come to be where we are by the time they visited. And I said, there are aspirations, people want to, you know, come from one position to another, but it's all about how you can improve. It's always going forward and better. So I took them through everything I could think of, to the benefit of your different categories of people. Meaning, I don't control their GDPs, their budgets, their money. No, it is them who control it. So where do you want to put it? And that's why I was giving them what we are going through and where we put our money and why and so on and so forth. But also, governance is just not about that. It is also about some of the things we are talking about. making it easy for people to do what they can and want to do. The ease of doing anything for people. I took them through that, and I also showed how deliberately we put some laws in place to actually facilitate that. But it's not the laws that are going to deliver, it's again the practice. The practice that includes accountability and different things. So I took them through all that. So therefore, the whole idea was, and by the way, we included how crossing of borders, from one country to another. And the other day, in another meeting here in Kigali, there was one of the great Nigerians, a very wealthy man, who told us a story, how he went to some country in Africa, they literally at the airport told him to go back, and this is a man, a wealthy man, worth billions. So. And even has investments in that country. But they turned him back at that airport. They only allowed the pilots, I think, to go and sleep because they had been flying for so many hours. I mean, why go through that, and why take somebody through that? What is the benefit? What is the principle behind it? So these are some of the things, and it is everybody's task. Those who want to do whatever they want to do, to keep voicing that and saying, please, don't stand in our way. What we are doing is not harmful to anybody, but beneficial to everybody. What is the answer going to be from those who create obstacles? I don't understand. So anyway, let's keep trying. Let's each do our parts from whatever vantage point we are, but working together even more, we can make a difference. I'm sure the story of the lady from Morocco, so riding through, first of all, cycling across Africa is very impressive on its own. I mean, for somebody to try and put a roadblock for that, I mean, I don't know, it must be crazy. Yes. So, yeah, we can keep talking about it, but there are things that are self-inflicted, problems that are self-inflicted here on our continent, to say the least. Self-inflicted. There are problems we create for ourselves. But let's keep trying.
Thank you, sir. We'll take one more question. Scovia, please, go ahead.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Before that, Scovia,
Mr. President.
Exchange nabonye hagati yawe na Minister Olivier byari ibiki? What happened? Interested kumenya uko nayo ukurikiranye nkagerageza kureba ikibazo kirimo nkakibura. Now I want you to mbere yo kumbaza banza unsobanurire menye ibyabaye niki.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Ikibazo cyabaye ko ntazi igifaransa neza ku rwego nyakubahwa minisitiri yumvaga nkwiye kuba nkiziho, ngerageza gushyira ijambo rye mu kinyarwanda kugira ngo abanyarwanda bumve, aje kunsubiza ko ntabikoze neza, hari ku cyumweru
yakosoraga ikinyarwanda
ni ukuvuga ngo hari message yari yanditse cyangwa ubutumwa mu gifaransa asubiza, yavugaga kuri ishu ya Kongo, hari abo ibyo yasubizaga, tugerageza gushyira mu kinyarwanda ngira ngo ntitwabivuga neza nk'uko igifaransa kibivuga
ariko
tugenekereje
se kuvuga neza hari icyo mwanyuranyijeho se cyo yavugaga
ntabwo twakimenye kugeza ubu kubera ko
ndavuga isi ushobora kuba yaravugaga ikintu mukagisobanura mu buryo butandukanye n'ibyo yavuze ubwo ni nko kuvuga ngo mwavuze ibyo atavuze ariko hari no kuvuga ibyo yavuze wenda mu rurimi we yumva rudahagije biratandukanye
yego
icyo cya kabiri igihe nta kibazo mbonamo kuba wavuga ibyo navuze n'ubu ngubu nimuva ugenda ugasobanura ibintu navuze cyangwa nashubije mu nzira iyo nabishyiragamo ariko wenda ururimi rukagobwaho akantu gato ntabwo ujya nabibonamo ikibazo ariko ugiye ugahindura ibyo navuze Yesu ukavuga ko navuze no ubwo biba byahinduye isura aho niho nagira ikibazo niko byagenze what happened
ntabwo twigeze duhindura icyo yavuze nuko tutakivuze mu gifaransa ngira ngo cya nyacyo kuko na mese
utabisobanuye mu kinyarwanda ngo gihwanye n'igifaransa cyiza yavuze noneho ushaka intambara z'ubusa kweri
hanyuma aza gusubiza ndabyibuka hari ku cyumweru ngira ngo hari nuko nari njyenyine iyo mba ndi kumwe n'undi aba yarangiriye inama itari igisubizo natanze kuko naje mvuga nti ntiwigeze utubwira ikosa twakoze ngo turikosore kuko we yagaragazaga ko dukwiye gusubira kwiga igifaransa kandi koko sinkizi ariko abo dukorana bamwe baba bagerageje ngira ngo naho habaye kutumvikana na nyuma ndisegura kuko ntari ku rwego wenda rwo gusubiza
ariko wiseguriraga iki
ko nashubije minisita ndi umunyamakuru muri urwo buryo n'ubu ndacyasaba imbabazi
oya bishoboka ahubwo azagusaba imbabazi ariwe kuko ibi bya protocol iby'abajanesi ntabwo birimo protocol yes ndabona ushaka icyo kintu ndashaka kuko nabonye hari ugusaba imbabazi sinabyumva kudasobanura neza ariko nabyo bifite ikindi bivuze bibiri
neza ni ukuvuga ko ibyavugwaga mu gifaransa si byo byavugwaga mu kinyarwanda biratandukanye si ukuvuga ko ikinyarwanda cyari kibi oya ntabwo cyasobanuraga icyo igifaransa cyavugaga
byanyuranye bite
it was not opposite sinibuka neza ariko icyo gihe twarabibonye twese tuti niba mutazi igifaransa nta mpamvu yo gukomeza kuvuga mu kinyarwanda mwihimbira
ariko ubwo namwe mwagiye mu rurimi gusa ntimwareba content njye ndashaka kumbwira content
nyakubahwa unyemereye
buretse
content ni uko
cyanyuranyijeho ni iki yavuze iki ku buryo kinyuranyije n'icyo undi yari yavuze
aho izo mvi zanjye zintaye mu gihe kuko ariko icyo nibuka icyo gihe kuko twese twabibonye icyo minisitiri nta makosa yakoze avuga ati hari ibyo gihe navuze mwebwe musobanurira mubwira abanyarwanda ibitari byo
yes ariko ntabwo wavuga utyo gusa utavuga ibyo ari byo nawe
muri aka kanya mu mbabarire n'izo
urabivuga n'imbaraga ukagira ngo kuko hari substance hari na form hari content na form content ya misrepresentize ni iyihe ariko the form bijyanye na language bishobora kuba bitari uko bikwiye kuba bimeze cyangwa uko byumva ariko did it change the content
yes
uravuga yes nakubaza ntabwo ubizi
nibyo nibuka ariko na minisita nawe arahari
of course n'ubundi iyo mbwira nkabaza minisita na mbere hose yes minisita tubwire biri important kuri jye nabonye abantu bahereka ariko nta protocol iri mu ibi bintu nabonye hari wasubiza ngo abwiye minisita nabi bisa nabi ko tubaze
murakoze your excellency ntabwo byari ikibazo cya protocol ntabwo byari n'ikibazo cyo gusubiza minisita nabi nta kibazo nari mbifiteho ikibazo ni content nari navuze bijyanye n'inama yabereye i Nairobi ya Africa Forward Summit twari twagiyemo.
Tujya ku substance.
Umuhanzi witwa Sherry Silver wari watumiwe ngo aze muri party yagombaga kuba after the meeting ya Africa Forward Summit. Ku buryo navuze yuko bitanakwiye yuko
no ariko ibyo bavuze bitajyanye n'ibyo bavuze ni ibiki?
Nibyo ngibyo byuko Kongo yanenze u Rwanda mu nama kandi Kongo perezida wayo ataranahari. Ibyo nibyo nanavuze bo baranabiquestioning.
Barabikwestoninze cyangwa babiripotinze ku buryo butari bwo.
Babiquestioninze ibyo navuze. Bavuga ko ahubwo baza no kubaza umuhanzi.
Babiquestioninze bavuga ko ibyo wavuze bitari byo nicyo cyangwa
ko bitari byo, ko bitumvikana, ko ahubwo baza kubaza uwo muhanzi ko ari wewe uza kubisobanura.
Ikitarumvikanaga ngo nikize.
Nibyo nanjye nibaza kuko ibyo navugaga byari clear, kuko Kongo yavugaga ko ngo batunenze ko mu nama ya Africa Forward Summit kandi Kongo itari nahari. Baraje
ariko ibyo ni Kongo yabivuze.
Ibyo ni Kongo yabivuze, ngewe ndabinenga muri tweet mu Gifaransa.
Hanyuma
ahubwo bo barananenga bavuga ko bidasobanutse ibyo ndimo mvuga.
Bitasobanutse meaning what?
Ko ibyo mvuga nenga Kongo ko bitari clear kandi ari nge wari uhari muri iyo nama. Ibyo navuze byari bisobanutse kandi
ari ikintu kimisinga aho ngaho ntumva neza. Bakwandika bavuga ngo ibyo bavuze si byo, bavuze ibyo bo kuri bo bakuvugiye ibyo wavuze se bitari byo.
Oya, barabiquestioningaga yuko ibyo mvuga
bitumvikana.
Best ku bintu ntanumva kubera ko it was clear ibyo navugaga byuko Kongo ntabwo yari mu nama nishobora kuvuga.
Babiquestioninze bavuga se ngo Olivier arabeshya ntabwo biri ari byavuze cyangwa yavuze bashatse kuvuga ibyo wavuze ariko babivuga mu buryo butari bwo, batanga indi content or
bavuga ko ibyo mvuga bitumvikana, ko ngiye ibyo mvuga nka Minister of Foreign Affairs wari muri iyo nama, ko ibyo mvuga bitumvikana, ko ahubwo bagiye kubaza umuhanzi utari no muri iyo nama.
Umuhanzi se bamubarizaga iki?
Kubera ko yari yatumiwe muri party yabaye nyuma y'iyo nama. Hari party yabaye, hari umuhanzi wari watumiwe ngo bafashe gutegura iyo party, ngo nibo baza kubaza mu bintu byavugiwe mu nama y'abakuru b'ibihugu narindimo. Aho ngaho niho hari ikibazo.
Ariko ikindi kibazo muhitamo kubishyira ku rubuga muterana amagambo.
Nuko hari hashize n'iminsi mubwira ibyo batagiye basemura neza, mwandikira akamubwira ko babikora, nyuma bakongera bagasubira bakabidistortinga.
Ibyo byaje kuba noneho bitari interpretation. Ibyo bavuze gusa ko ibyo bavuze atari byo.
Ko atari byo, ko babiquestioninga.
It is very intriguing. What is it?
Nyakubahwa, murakoze kongera kumpa umwanya.
Abandi mwari kumwe icyo gihe ni bande mbese?
Ni abanyamakuru dukorana ntabwo bari hano. Twari mu kiganiro
dusangira amagambo magufi turebe turangize.
Icyabaye leta ya Kongo yavugaga ko bari bahari nkuko nyakubahwa minisitiri yari yabavuguruje, nawe akavuga ko batari bahari. Noneho mu kiganiro kuko abari talk show atari kuvuga ngo turasoma amakuru kwa kundi twihuta.
Ni ikiganiro mwakora?
Ni ikiganiro, noneho tubiteramo urwenya turavuga tuti se kota ashobora kutubwira ko yamubonye cyangwa atamubonye, tubivuga dutyo turagenda. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika ngira ngo ikibazo cyaje kuba ubwo nyakubahwa minisitiri yazaga kuri Twitter akoresha imvugo igira iti Madame Scovia Mutesi, ikiganiro cyanyu kiratera urujijo mu Banyarwanda. Inyandiko yanjye yanditse mu rurimi rwumvikana. Ubutaha muzashaka umunyamakuru uvuga neza Igifaransa asemura inyandiko nk'iyi uko bikwiye mbere y'uko muyiganiraho. Nibiba ngombwa muzabaze.
Ariko urumva mwese mugira ngo mufite
muzambaze. Sorry,
uretse mufite ikibazo. Olivier ko avuga, ko minisitiri avuga, ni nkaho bavuze ngo ibyo yavuze asubiza ko abanyekongo batari bahari, mwavuze ko ni nk'aho muvuga ngo abanyekongo bo baravuga ngo bari bahari, wowe uravuga ngo ntibari bahari. So nibyo byateye urujijo.
Yego.
Okay? Ntabwo byaba ikibazo cy'igifaransa rero cyangwa ikinyarwanda. Kuko niba uvuga ngo mu inama ntabwo bari abantu bari bahari. Okay? Then wowe ukavuga ngo minisitiri ibyo avuga ntabwo ari byo, bariya baravuga ngo bari bahari, minisitiri aravuga ngo ntibari bahari. Icyo kikaba ari cyo kiba ikiganiro, ntabwo ari ikibazo cya interpretation. Ikibazo cy'ukuvuga ngo abantu bavuze nk'aho bahakana ko ibyo bavuze atari byo, kubera ko wavuze ko batari bahari abanyekongo kandi wenda ntibari bahari, ariko bo baravuga ngo ariko reka tubaze abanyekongo bo barabivuga nk'abari bahari, ubanza bari bahari. So meaning barashaka kumenya niba wowe ibyo wavuze ko batari bahari ari byo. Ntabwo ari ikibazo cya interpretation ya language. Biri he aho ngaho? Ni ikibazo cyo kunyomoza kuvuga ngo minisita yatubwiye ko abanyekongo batari bahari. Reka tubaze uriya muntu wundi wari uhari akutubwire ko kuko abanyekongo batari bahari. Ntabwo ari ikibazo cy'igifaransa cyiza cyangwa kibi. Ni ikibazo cyo guhakana icyo wavuze in whatever language you said it. Sinzi niba mubyumva. Ahangaha ikibazo cya interpretation ya language kivuye he? Cyangwa igifaransa kibi cyangwa ikinyarwanda kitumvikana bivuye he? What is at issue here is to prove that either abanyekongo ibyo babivuze koko bari bahari, cyangwa se babivuze babeshya ntibari bahari. Ariko we Olivier yavuze ko abanyekongo batari bahari. So icyo ni ikibazo cya the substance of the argument, it's not the language. So mwagihinduye ikibazo cya language gute?
Ntabwo twagihinduye ikibazo cya language.
Ndavuga we na minisita niwe mbwira. Ntabwo ari ikibazo cya language ngo uzajya ubwira abanyarwanda kuko niyo waza kuba yabyumvise igifaransa neza. Still yajya kuvuga ngo Olivier yatubwiye ko abanyekongo bari bahari kandi batari bahari. Yatubwiye ko batari bahari kandi bari bahari kuko abanyekongo baravuga ngo bari bahari. Is that an issue of language? Ibyo mukabiteranaho amagambo mu media gute? Yes.
Mwakoze kutwemerera kuba dufite telefone. Nitwa Mutuyezo Swald. Byose narabikurikiye. Ndetse nanjye nagize comment kiraho. Minisita aranyandikira kuko nanavuze ngo bakwiye kuba babiganiriye mu gikari bitari ku Karubanda. Minisita arambwira ati byari maze kuba byinshi. Nge uko nabikurikiye nkanabisesengura impamvu minisita yazanyemo ikibazo cy'igifaransa ni impaka n'indende, ntabwo ari kiriya gice cyonyine. Hari ukundi babisemuraga ukumva harimo amakosa. Ntekereza ko rero mubabaje njye mbona hari ababirigi nibo babazwa
nuko nta nubwo bababajwe rero na content n'ukuri abantu bababajwe na language.
Yego. Mu buryo basemuraga birashoboka ko ni isesengura ryanjye. Minisita atekereza ati ubwo niyo conclusion bakoze ishingiye kuko baba batari kumva neza ubutumwa. mpagurutse ngira ngo nkemure iki kibazo n'umuntu yandikiye arambwira ati ndabizi ko wabikurikiye saba ijambo ukemura ikibazo. Noneho iyindi interpretation kari akantu ka Sheryl Silver Mutesi Kove yagakubisemo nk'uwiterera urwenya, ntabwo byari ibintu biremereye, ariko minisitiri aravuga ati mama Rwagasabo irakurikirwa cyane, aba bakurikira bakeneye amakuru atomoye azira urujijo.
Ariko amakuru yarari aho ngaho nayahe ko nta
kiriya kibazo cyari gikomeye ko Perezida wa Repubulika kumva abanyekongo bavuga ko perezida yarahari kandi yaraje byarangiye, ndavuga Tshisekedi. So noneho we minisita yari itonze ashishimura message azingo arabwira abanyekongo noneho babazwa no kubona abantu baje bagasa nk'abayigabanyiriza ubukana, ariko ni ibintu bashoboraga gukemurira mu kikari. So ni ibyerekano yo gutinda
nubwo bavuga kubikemura, je ntabwo ndabona ikibazo cyari cyubanza, ariko mwarabuza akazi muri nkora gusa, ariko n'aba ministers mwajya muri yo argument harimo iki ko ntaracyumva n'ubu. Albert wahoze kuvuga cyane mu zirukomeye, we substance aho ngaho yabaye yihige ko nayumva yazanye intambara mu bantu bakayiki batuwazi.
Nashatse nantuza ndanayibonye wa mugani byatangiye ari uko abanyekongo ubwabo batangaje inkuru itari cyo kwa kundi ba ibyo okay. So noneho minister
arabasubiza babwira ati ibyo mwavuze sibyo, nta nubwo perezida yari ahari cyangwa
exactly. Hanyuma muri interpretation noneho doko yavuze ati iki kiganiro cyanyu kiratera urujijo
urujijo rwatewe n'uruhe mbese bari
urujijo mu Banyarwanda. Inyandiko yanjye yanditse mu rurimi rwumvikana, ubutaha muzashake umunyamakuru uvuga neza igifaransa. So ni interpretation y'igifaransa yari yanditse bo batangiye ku,
ariko minister we iyajya kuri content agasobanura icyo bakosheje bikava mu rurimi, kuko issue ntabwo ari ururimi hano, issue ni content yuko bamwe muri abo bantu badiscussingaga ari side ya minister, ari abanyekongo, ari abaganiraga, hariho wa Misiri presenting the facts.
Exactly.
Ntabwo ari ikibazo cya language ariko.
No, no, ikibazo kirimo kuko we icyo yashubije, kuko niyo mpamvu minister avuga ati mukwiye gushaka abantu bazi basisimura igifaransa neza mu Kinyarwanda. So uko basasimuraga ntuza igifaransa mu Kinyarwanda babwira the public audience.
Ubwo icyo yakemuraga ni minister
nuko
cyagomba gukemura ni ikintu kimwe gusa. Perezida yarari aho ngaho cyangwa ntiyari ahari?
Ye nabwo yari ahari.
Ibindi byo ururimi wabivugamo rwose, it doesn't matter. Ikimataringa ni fact yuko either abantu mu rurimi bavuga urwo rwose rwaba ari ruzima rutari ruzima, baravuga ko perezida yari ahari kandi atari ahari.
Yes.
Niho substance iri gusa.
Sure.
Ariko ibyo ngibyo uvuga ni nkaho argument iri ku language, it's not on the substance.
No, the argument is nk'itangazamakuru to in fact kubwira abantu ibitari byo, kandi nawe impamvu bibaye ni ukutumvise neza icyo gifaransa.
Ariko Albert urumva nawe na Olivier nyine mufite ikibazo cyanyu ni language, ikibazo cyanyu ni substance.
The substance that is the wrong message ugeza ku Banyarwanda.
Yihese yagejeje
yo questioninga ibyo minister yavuze.
Now question ibyo navugaga rero ubu noneho bitwayeho byari biri ya questioning ibyo minister yavuze. Now that becomes the substance kurimo.
No, it's not exactly. Mr. President, Excellency, the problem is where ajango abanyarwanda bumve the substance uko yari imeze. Hanyuma mu itangazamakuru mbere ko utangaza muri audience ukwiye kumenya ko ibyo ugiye kubabwira ari byo. So wasobanukiye nabi ukabwira the audience the wrong message.
Yababwiye.
In fact, they were questioning even ibya minister.
Why not?
Okay.
Why can't the minister's statement be questioned?
No, okay, why not? Fine, let's take it. You question the minister. Fine. So, you
should be asking what I'm asking. Now, if you a journalist is conforming to minister, it's not right.
Okay, in fact, tuvuge nkanjye wabikurikiye icyo gihe kubera ko narinzi inkuru uko yari iteye. For me also I was saying kabisa mugenzi wanjye mu itangazamakuru ari aratangaza inkuru itariyo. That is my personal opinion.
Ariko yatangaje iki ko ya questionings gutangaza no questioninga no kubaza uvuga ko ushaka kumenya ukuri. It's not ntabwo ari gutangaza.
In fact ni nkaho yemezaga ko wenda ibyo abanyekongo bavugaga byari byo. Ariko kandi yashoboraga kubikura
bericisha make. haraho ya byanditse muri iyo language haraho ya questionings byaba mu cyongereza mu gifaransa cyangwa mu kinyarwanda.
Je uko ni minister avuze ibintu wari uhari